He is the president of the Ekal Abhiyan Central Executive Committee and is leading its CSR wing, occupying the top honors as the chairman and managing director of NALCO, as also the managing director of Bharat Gold Mines Limited. Shri Bajrang Lal Bagraji is on the board of directors of Kabra Limited and International Procurement Consultancy Private Limited. Dear sir, we are indeed honored to have you in our midst today. We request Shri Gopal Maheshwari ji, President FTS Coimbatore, to honor and offer our greetings to Shri Bagra ji. We now request Shri Bajrang Lal Bagra ji to deliver his address on the global concept of equal movement and throw light on its corporate social responsibility wing.
Namaste. I couldn't hear the response. Namaste, I said. I just wanted to make sure that all are awake. Respected Dr. Krishna Kumar ji, Manju Didi, Shri Gopal ji Maheshwari, the President of Friends of Tribal Society, Coimbatore Chapter, Mohan Shankar ji, and all the India lovers present over here. Friends, we all are driven by a passion that Mother India should reach to a glorious position. There cannot be any dispute about this ambition, this goal, this passion which is burning in hearts of all of us, the Indians. Question is how? We have chosen a particular path of democracy and taking India to the place in the galaxy of nations where it belongs to, truly it belongs to, whose job is this? Unfortunately, we have left this whole job to the government, which is not the correct way. Government has got its limitations. It is all powerful, it is very resourceful, yet it has its limitation, and that is the reason that we all are struggling, and that is the reason institutions like Ekal and many more are operating, they are running and trying to contribute to the whole process of taking India forward and make it reach to the destination of the glory. Manju Didi has made my job very easy by explaining the Ekal model and the Ekal process very succinctly. So I will just confine my talk that what Ekal has been able to achieve, what was its targets. Friends, as I explained, we are trying to contribute to the development of the nation, the holistic development. And when I talk the development, it is not only the economic development. Because nowadays there is a misnomer, particularly sitting in the hall of chamber. We may feel that GDP, the percentage, per capita income, that is the development. That is one part of the development, no doubt about that. But GDP and per capita alone cannot make a prosperous nation. We need people with proper education, education with values. Otherwise, education without values, what kind of havoc that can create, we all are aware. I mean, whether it is Indian history, Indian mythology, Indian scripts, or global, all over the world, we know that high education, high skills, but no morals, no ethics, what damage it can do to the humanity. So we need the people with vision, with passion, with education, with values. And then of course economic development is one part of the whole thing. We need healthy people. We need harmony in the society. Otherwise we always hear what is happening to our neighboring country. India and Pakistan both were, in the new sense of the modern history, born on the same day. And we know that disharmony in the society, what kind of damage it has done to the psyche of a nation. Pakistan is a burning example. Not that we are at loggerheads with them, so we like to quote that, but that is the fact. So we need all kind of good things to be there on the ground. Now the non-government endeavors, most of them are confined to urban and cities because it is easier to do so. Most of NGOs work in the cities. And that is the reason that the remote areas which are inaccessible, which are disadvantaged because of the distant location, they most of the time remain out of the purview, out of the attention of any civil society organizations. And that is the gap which ECHL is seeking to fill in. Incidentally, it is the 60 to 70% of Indian population which resides in those distant places. Not only the population size, we always call that more distance means lesser and lesser control of the government. There is in American ECHL chapters, when they try to discuss about the ECHL's significance, they say where there is a jungle, there is Naxal and there is ECHL. This is just a simile they have got, jungle, Naxal and ECHL, but that is the fact. All terrorist or extremist affected areas have got Naxal and ECHL schools running over there. Over a period of time, what change ECHL has been able to bring about in those extremist affected areas is that their supply line, their future recruitment, their sustenance has been totally eroded. Now they have realized this. When ECHL approached, and they did their own due diligence whether to let them do their work or operate in our area, and they found it they are harmless creature kind of thing. Don't charge any fee. Just teach the students for 2-3 hours, and in weekly gatherings do some kind of bhajans and some kind of an hour's sermon about de-addiction and about harmony, about organic farming. So nothing challenging or nothing damaging to them. 10 to 15 years down the line, now they have realized that once in ECHL schools runs for 10-15 years, no new recruitment is possible from those villages by them. The supply line for future has been totally cut for them, and that is the reason now they are shifting from jungles to the cities. Now you must have heard the new axiom, urban Naxals. So now the incidences like Koregaon and Bharat Bandh, all these things are a result of their desperation, because now they are no more able to do what they were doing in the distant areas with the hired people, because ECHL has cut their supply line. And why can't they do any damage to us now? Even now, because we are not violent, they have got guns, still they can't touch us. Reason being, every student studying in ECHL is a relative of some of their own cadre. Either his uncle or mama or chacha is serving in their cadre. Touch any ECHL school and there will be immediate repercussion and revolt in their cadre. They can't touch us. That's how the whole ECHL Abhiyan continues. It is just about one impact of ECHL in the extremist areas. Kashmir Valley, I'm not talking of Jammu and Ladakh because they are physically, topographically, geographically difficult areas, but valley where it is considered or it is assumed because of the media's reporting style that valley is gone. Most of the dwellers in valley are anti-Indians. This is what a kind of impression has been created. In that situation where there is no Hindu left, there is no Christian or Buddha left in the valley, it is 100% Muslims, except the central government employees serving the army or serving the central ministries. Ekal has been running schools, and the impact of that is that in the Ekal villages there is no stone pelting. In Ekal villages, nobody from outside village can stay in the night. What I mean, no extremist, whether he is from within Kashmir or whether he is from Pakistan, can't take shelter in the village. If he does, it's just a matter of couple of hours, he will be behind bars. The impact. Now, there are villages where because of our traditional caste issues, because of the caste culture, through the weekly pathshalas, through the weekly satsangs, we have been able to bring about harmony in a big way. One village, one cremation ground, one source of water supply, and chanting the bhajans and the weekly assembly at one place, all sitting on one platform, one chadar. And thereafter, of course, our object of such assembly is some issues like de-addiction from liquor. You may be surprised to know, or most of you perhaps know, that whatever low income these tribal people have, 41% of that on a national average goes into liquor. As such, they have very low income, and 41% of this that goes in liquor, because most of the male and many of the female are addicted. They may skip a few foods, few meals, but can't skip liquor. That is where Ekal is trying through these weekly satsang and weekly gatherings to de-addict them. It is not a question of saving some money which is spent on liquor. It has got many other manifestations like the health issues, like the family peace issue, like the livelihood issues. The time they waste under influence of intoxication, if they devote to the productive means in the farm or cattle, you may understand what change it can bring about in their lives. So these are the issues what we are trying to bring. Organic farming, we have been able to impact in Jharkhand, in Odisha, in West Bengal, close to 50,000 farmers. 50,000 farmers trained by Ekal in their Gramothan resource centers, training centers. They have resorted to the organic farming. They have given up the use of chemicals in the form of the fertilizer or pesticide, insecticide, fungicide, and anything. The product which is of the organic farming, apart from maintaining the fertility of the soil for good sustaining, the product itself, the grain or the vegetables which come out of the organic use, you may understand that what kind of contribution it can make to the health of the user, the urban people also. So Ekal has been very silently revolutionizing the countryside. We have a vision to open and operate such farmer training center, one in each bhag. A bhag means consisting of 4 to 5 districts in every state. So close to 55 such farmer training center we are going to operate. Right now we have 14 of them throughout India. One in the Tamil Nadu is situated near Kumbakonam. That is where we do. Sansthan, as Didi has explained, I will not go repeat on this. That is the think tank. You, the experienced, the intellectuals who are learned people can think, can develop options, can evaluate the practices and the proposals, and then contribute what is the right path in the given situation, which keeps on changing. There is nothing static. The syllabus of Ekal has undergone change 6 times over last 3 decades. because times are changing, and the need of society is changing. Our student has to join the formal education in the higher classes, higher studies, so to keep him always equipped and ready and to be in a better position, we do keep on changing. And the source of all these innovations is the Ekal Sansthan, and the contribution from the people like you who have been working in a professional manner in your own field of operations. So friends, there is where we are. Financial resources, 1/3 is contributed by non-resident Indians, mainly in America. We have got chapters in 62 cities in America, and other than America, Canada, Australia, few countries in the Gulf, Singapore, Thailand, Norway, Italy, Germany, there are support groups and there are chapters. 2/3 is raised from within India. And as we say, it is people's movement, nothing to do with the government. Only this morning some friend was telling that now that you have a government, so whom we know some people, like Prime Minister or some a few ministers, why do you unnecessarily go around asking for funds? Will they not oblige you? The question is no. It is people's movement, and we don't want to do anything with the government. As far as resources are concerned, it should be, this is the duty of the people who have got resources, financial, intellectual, time, and the passion, to help the people who don't have those resources, who need all these things. So the bridge between the urban 30% and the rural 70%, the Ekal is trying to make that bridge. And then if we depend upon the government resources, the bridge will go away, the organization may collapse, because we are trying to bring everybody in the city together, not only to take the intellectual input from all of you, but also the financial resources. That's why we don't have anything to do with the government. Whatever party the government may belong to, in state or in the center. So it is people's movement in that sense. So these are global chapters, and within India, Friends of Tribal Society in East, South and West, and Bharat Lok Shiksha Operation in the North. They are the one who create resources. Of last couple of years, CSR has become a major source of our funding. Since whatever we do, all these are enlisted in that section 135 of the Companies Act. Whether it is a health initiative or skill development, e-shiksha, digital divide, primary education, all these are approved under that CSR. Another thing is that we offer a wide presence throughout India. In all the states, wherever there are villages, there is Ekal. So the company may be working anywhere in India, its production facilities may be anywhere. We can provide the proximity and the location next to their own facilities, which is again a requirement of the CSR. So CSR is now becoming another source of funding, which is helping us in moving and the growing a bit faster. Right now we are in 72,000 villages. We have a vision that by end of next year, we should be present in 100,000 villages. An organization present in 100,000 remote villages, distant villages, no government, state or center or no other NGO or civil organization can even think of. Forget about reaching it. But Ekal, thanks to its volunteers, many of them are sitting amongst you. It's dedicated Samiti members, it's dedicated Nagar Sanktan members like Sri Gopalji. It is a volunteer-based movement. There are no employees. It is everybody is volunteer. So because of the volunteer model and because of the passion and the commitment, we have been able to come this far, and we are sure that with the support of this committed volunteer force and with the support from the intellectuals, urbanites like you, we will be able to achieve our goal of reaching 100,000 villages, which will be a real considerable contribution to making what we have got in our dream, Mother India prosper the glory and make India reach to the place in the nations where it belongs to. We all know that that Sone ki Chidiya, Golden Goose, and all these things we are aware, but we are traveling towards that. Speed sometimes may be slow or faster, but we are confident that we will definitely make it. Bharat Mata ki Jai.
Respected Sri Bhagraji, thank you for the 360-degree view on the ECL movement and its CSR activities.